Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Open Tabs podcast. We are at episode 11. My name is Joe,
And I'm Billy.
and we are excited to come at you one more time tonight here on a fine Monday night. And Billy, what do you got for us tonight?
What's something people do that you think should be socially unacceptable, but everyone just lets it slide?
Let's see. Socially unacceptable. Okay, I got a story. You want a story?
Let's hear it.
So I work security at my church. I'm on the security team at my church, right? The other night, it's Wednesday night, they have youth group or whatever. I noticed these kids by a side door where nobody should be, and they look like they're about to go out this door. And it's not a door that you can go out. It's supposed to be like a locked door or whatever. So I start to approach these kids. They've got their back to me. They're staring at the door. And I don't understand what's happening, right? I'm like, what are these kids doing right now? Why are they just standing at the door? So I'm like, what are you guys doing? And then all of a sudden, they break out in some sort of weird, unexplainable movement that I think is supposed to be dancing. It's not really what I would consider dancing. And it dawns on me, these kids are using the bar that opens the door as a tripod for their cell phone so they can record a TikTok video of them doing some sort of weird viral TikTok dance. And to me, I feel like that is something, I don't know, maybe we talk about this a little bit. Maybe it's not something we should be doing. I mean, eh, there's a lot that could go wrong here. I could have assumed that they were, bad actors or something. I don't know. Could have called their parents. I mean, what is going on with the world where we think we can just set up anywhere we want and shoot a video of ourselves dancing in public?
Well, for kids, maybe it's a little different, but I like the idea that in a public place, which I guess church is not a public place, but in a public place you can record. It's our First Amendment right. But gosh, like within reason, there's no expectation of privacy when you're in public. But does everything have to be filmed? Does everything have to be recorded so that it can become of the next viral sensation, or can we just live our lives a little bit from time to time? I'm guilty of it. Going to a concert or going on a trip, the phone comes out and I'm like, click, 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 click. Can I just slow down a little bit instead of documenting everything? Just enjoy the moment. You know.
Yeah, I agree with you. And here's the thing. Like, I guess I get, like, you got a following, you're trying to keep up with the trends, you're trying to be an influencer. I totally understand that, right? Totally fine with me, I guess, to an extent. It does irritate me a little when you see, like, um we were at Disney and I could see, like, the moms, like, taking their little duck face photos while their kids are, like, yanking on them to ask them if we can go on the ride or whatever. And they're like, Disney perfect or whatever. But, like, so it irritates me. It irks me a little bit, probably more than it should. But, um, but yeah, I do agree. Like, you should be able to film what you want and your First Amendment right and all that. But to your point, Billy, I think what happens a lot of times is we get so focused on capturing the moment that we miss the moment. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and this is something my wife is constantly reminding me of. Well, I've got my phone out and I'm trying to take a picture. She's like, stop taking a picture and just enjoy it. You don't need to videotape fireworks. They're not going to look the same on your phone later. Just watch the fireworks. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. And it can go both extremes. There have been times where I took 0 pictures and later on I just wish I had one, just one. But oftentimes, especially years later, I don't regret uh, missing pictures of scenery or anything else. The ones I regret are pictures of the people I was with. And that's where I mess up. I take plenty of pictures of the fireworks as if I want to remember what those particular fireworks looked like in 10 years. Who cares? If I could have just turned it around and taken a selfie with the person I was with, that's what matters more later. That's what I often forget.
Yeah, I agree with you. And here's the thing. This just came to my mind. I've been trying to do this a little bit more. And it just came to my mind. The moment that you should try to capture, if you can, if it's not going to spoil it, is that moment that strikes you. And so it might be, we were in Laguna Beach a couple of weeks ago. We were on vacation, and there's this special time where leopard sharks are breeding, right? And you can kind of like see them through the waves if the water is clear enough. And that was a moment in time where I was like, man, this is a once in a lifetime thing. And I tried to enjoy it as much as I could. But then there was that moment where I was like, I just want to see if I can get a video of a leopard shark in the water just once. And I happened to get a little, you can't even tell. I can tell because it's me, but you can't really tell. And what I realized is I think when we try to take photos, we try to document experiences, we really want to make sure we document the experiences that are going to create that story for us later. I
Mm.
love when I go look at a picture and it reminds me of that moment I had with that person. To your point, right? It's about the people. I love when I look at a picture and it reminds me of that trip or that camping excursion or whatever it was, that time on the boat or whatever it is that I was like, oh man, this is really cool. This is a moment I want to hold on to. And that's really cool. But I mean, the viral TikTok dances and the like, ooh, look at me. I'm so whatever. I don't know. I'm a little less about that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm old school, but
What do you think about these new smart glasses that can record from the frame of the glasses? You're just wearing the glasses and you can take a picture or video, and people may not even realize it.
I, I dig it to an extent, but I also it makes me a little nervous. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily want people videotaping me with their glasses, but I get the idea of it. Just being able to say, hey, I want to capture that really quick without thinking about it, without having to get your phone out. I wonder what the quality of that image would be and if it would be worthwhile. Because to an extent, I feel like if the quality of the image isn't good, why are we even taking it?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
that I'm a purist or a photographer or anything. I'm not. But
Well, for example, I wanted to get the new Meta glasses last
mhm,
year for a music festival because I do take pictures and video with my phone, which the phones do fantastic now. Used to
right.
even a few years ago, the audio in a live concert was just drowned out, but now they're pretty darn good.
Hmm.
But I don't, again, I want to enjoy the moment, but also want to have some video clips to remember to show people the next day. And so I was going to get those Meta glasses and just turn on the record and like record and maybe even stream the music festival, some of these concerts, but the battery power and everything else, like it's not there yet. And it was
Yeah.
like 90-second clips or something like that. So they're not there yet. They're not designed to just stream for an hour or two, but that would be cool too. Like imagine if you can't make it to a concert and you could live stream from somebody's glasses that's standing in the crowd.
Oh,
That's kind of
yeah.
cool.
I feel like there's probably copyright rules that that would be a problem.
Yeah, that probably
But who's
has
gonna
something to
know?
do
You
with
know
it.
what? It's fine. It's whatever. It's just one person to enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
There's one I
go
look
ahead.
back sometimes and there's when I look back in my like archives of photos and videos, it only goes back to a certain point and then before that point it's like before digital cameras.
Hmm.
And then there's some seasons where I took a lot of photos anyways, but then you go back even before that and like there's few and far between. I can go for months and months and months without a single picture, seasons of life. And as a
Hmm.
teenager, whatever, that I wish I had a couple of pictures of, I don't even have a picture of a particular friend that I've lost contact with. And both of my parents are dead. I wish I could go back and record them telling their stories. They told me their stories over and over,
Mm.
the same stories, the same stories. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard this one 100 times and I can retell it, but I don't want to have to retell it. I wish I could go back and record, my father telling me the same old story from whatever event in his own words. And so then someday, if I were ever to become a dad, I say, hey, here's your grandpa from his
Mm.
lips, his voice, his
Mhm.
laughter, and those are the things that I think are the great things that we can record now, and that that famous quote, enjoy the little things in life, for one day you may look back and realize that they were the big things, and we
Oh,
don't know when
yeah.
we'll lose somebody. And I don't have my father's laughter. It's in my memory. I would love to have just a
Mm.
recording of his laughter, you know? And so we don't know when we lose somebody. Or maybe they just were not, they cut us out of their lives. It has happened to me a lot lately, the ghosting
Mm.
thing. And then to have some of those memories recorded is a nice thing.
I agree with that, and I think about all the stories that I haven't, that I vaguely remember, and that I'm fuzzy on the details, that are just really captivating stories from generations before me, you know?
Sure.
And, I I I I didn't really know my dad well or really at all. Um, I don't really have any good stories that I even know are true, but I do remember some specific stories with my grandpa, with somebody who was like my grandpa, wasn't really my grandpa. And just these stories that I hold on to and that he told me as he was kind of beginning his descent with Alzheimer's. And I think to myself, gosh, this is a story that, I mean, it's really one of those stories you would see on a World War II documentary or something, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And I agree with you, man. It just would be so great to have that moment that you heard, that person kind of laugh or chuckle through, you know, a story that they had with you know, their I don't know what you would call it, their company or whatever. Like those are the kinds of stories that really make a history, and not just a family history, but like a history overall, you know?
Yeah, and
So,
especially now with video, with digital video, this is something that's new in the last couple generations, really, having a digital archive of one's
mhm,
family. I mean, now you can go to Ancestry and you can maybe get some photographs or some old newspaper clippings. I found the census going back every 10 years,
mhm.
where I can see my father as a 9-year old and it's handwritten in his father, my grandfather,
Wow.
and all this stuff. And so you can find all that, but recordings of video and voice, like imagine in 500 years if we have a lineage and they could go back and they could watch
This
this.
podcast.
Yeah, and be like, "Whoa, what are those things? What is
Yeah, what are they
what is
wearing?
that? What is," like,
Yeah.
it's just wild. The things that we don't even know would change in 100 years or whatever. Uh, there a couple others I wanna throw in real quick, and then we'll move on. So, uh, again, something people do that should be socially unacceptable and that everyone just lets it slide. Letting their dog go up to other people without asking. There are times now I'll take it, I'll make it personal. I love dogs. I love dogs. I love animals. I love pets. And I will cuddle and pet with a dog, but I don't want someone else's dog coming up to me and jumping on me or
Right.
being allowed at all to come to, maybe I just don't want the dog hair on this particular outfit. What, maybe I don't even have a reason. But just like the other way around, a person should ask your permission before they pet your dog in a
Mhm, mhm.
public place. So too, the owner of the dog should not allow the dog to go up to the other person at all
Yeah.
unless it has been, hey, you want to, I hate that. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I bet in Atlanta too, because everybody thinks their dog is everybody's best friend or something.
Yep.
But, like, I don't agree with dogs and strangers meeting at any point without mutually agreed upon,
Yes.
like, there's no, and I get it, like, every now and again, somebody's dog will get away from him, and that makes me think, "Hey, you need to get your dog into a training class or something, or you need to get yourself into a training class, really, because your dog shouldn't be doing that." I usually it doesn't bother me because I have dogs, but from a social, like, is this a good idea socially? No, it's a terrible thing to do to somebody. You should
Yes.
not have your dog accosting other people,
Yep.
in a general sense, just walking down the street. Now, I will say there were occasions when we were at Disney where our service dog would like sniff somebody in line next to us, but you're in pretty close quarters. That person moved closer to my dog,
Yeah. I
mixed
think it's a
signals
little
or
different.
whatever. But, like, generally speaking, like, you've gotta have your dog under control, and that dog cannot be lunging at people or trying to, like, if that's happening, you really need to, like, be really upfront, like, "Oh, my dog wants to meet you, is that okay?" And you need to be
Right.
respectful if they say, yeah, no, I'm not into that. And then they can be like, oh, okay, no worries. And then you need to walk away, right?
Yes.
Like
And a dog jumping up on me, I don't feel comfortable saying down.
that's
The same
never
way that
okay.
I don't feel comfortable disciplining your kid.
Yeah.
Same idea. But I shouldn't have to.
No.
I shouldn't have to tell somebody else's dog down. And I would err on the side of letting the dog just jump on me. I have a buddy who has erred the other direction, and I've seen it before over the years, where he has gone too strict and vocal disciplining somebody else's dog that has jumped on him, and that person's the owner, then it becomes uncomfortable, like, "Don't yell at my dog." And both extremes are it should be socially unacceptable, but people let it slide. Um, how about this one? People blocking the aisle at the grocery store.
Oh. Okay, I'm going to say something right now. I appreciate grocery delivery just as much as the next person. But can we please get those monstrosity like 17 basket carts out of the way at 8 o'clock in the morning while the chip guy's trying to pack the chips and the soda guy's trying to pack the sodas? It's so frustrating. Like you can't even go to a Walmart before 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. because it's just lines of pallets and people and
Yep.
Walmart shopper carts. It's just ridiculous and it makes me nuts. And then I don't know about you, but like, why is it that every time I want a specific item off a shelf, there is a like 75 plus year old individual standing in front of that item looking for a completely different item that does not exist in the space that they're in, but they've got their cart right in front of the bag of chips that I want. That's like the word. It feels so wrong to be like, I know that you lived through the like Great Depression, but please, can you move? Just get out of my way, please.
You're creating a new Great
I want my
Depression in my
Doritos,
life.
please.
Oh man. Okay, so next segment. Would you call them out? Would you call them out? We're just going to go through a few of these real quick.
Okay.
Someone, this gets uncomfortable quick, at least for me. Someone cutting in line. Would you call them out, and how so? If so, how so?
No, never.
You don't call them out.
Well, no, I take that back. I might be like, oh, did you know that the line is over there?
Mm.
Like that kind of like passive, like information, like, hey, the line actually is back there. And then they play stupid and they go, oh, really? I didn't know. And then they walk back there. So I've done that before in like a really high line situation. But generally speaking, no, I just quietly like stew over it. You know what I mean?
See, and this is a real tricky thing. I think for me, it also goes to what kind of mood I'm in, because I'm not a confrontational person. But if I'm stressed out and pissy, I'll be the one that's like, "Hey, lines at the back," daring them to like challenge me, because it's only has nothing to do with them. It's in the moment I'm already stressed and upset about whatever, having a rough day. But then it's been the other way around. This happened last year. I was with my buddy, my roommate at the time. We're in Costco. Good Lord, these lines for Costco. And this line was like, it wasn't down one of the main aisles. This was like through all of the middle stuff in Costco. And we thought, like, we're both decent guys. We thought we had found the end of the line that had snaked like a third down the store through the aisles. And we got into the back of the line where we thought it was, but there was just more of a gap. And that line went another, 20 people. But the guy that called us out was a real jerk. He's like, hey, that's not the end of the line. Get it. Like he was, and we're like, hey, sorry. So there's a way to do it. There's a way to
Yeah.
do it where you don't have to just stew over it, not say anything, but also not being rude. And that's a tricky balance. How about a friend not paying you back?
Oh, let's talk about this a little bit. What are the circumstances under which money has been given?
Well, we're going to say it's not a gift. It's not a gift, not an obvious gift. It's a, hey, can I borrow whatever? I'll pay you back in a week or in a month or soon. So it's a loan because it's not a gift.
I'm looking through my list of people who have stiffed me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. Chester, you're a dog. Okay, sorry. That comes later. So let's see. Not a gift. It's a loan. Hey, I'm going to pay you back, and you never get paid back. So here's what I have always been taught. Though I'm very, very careful with this, I've been taught you do not lend money that you cannot afford to lose.
Yeah, good rule of thumb.
So I typically will not lend anybody money unless I know in the back of my mind that I can afford to never get this money back, because you just don't know when that money is coming back.
That's
maybe.
right.
That said, I think you have to be really cautious with whom you lend money. Like, there are people who, I just know from experience or from just general personality that I might lend them money and they're probably not going to remember to pay me back or value that as a priority. And so I'll say, yeah, I just don't have the money to lend right now. And that's usually true, because I think if I had the money and it didn't matter, I'd be like, sure, here's some money. Have fun. See ya. Don't worry about paying me back.
Yep.
But generally speaking, I can't do that. And so I'm pretty selective if I'll let somebody like borrow money. Now, that said, I don't think I've had somebody borrow money from me in probably 10 years. You know what I mean? My kids maybe, but they're going to pay me back because I control all the rest of their money. But like, generally speaking, I don't really let people borrow money too much, if ever. And so I think you just have to figure out, like, if you're gonna lend somebody money, you just need to be prepared that you're probably not gonna get it back.
Yeah. I think that's all wise. I have this rule that I will not loan money to anybody ever for any reason. But then that rule gets broken, right? I'd much rather have give a gift if I can afford it. If I can afford to lose it, then why not make it a gift in the first place? But there have been exceptions, and almost every time it's an uncomfortable thing at best. So one example, this is years back. I have a buddy, and perhaps it's irrelevant, but he is significantly older than me. I have friends that are significantly younger and older. I hang out with 20-year-olds. I hang out with retired people, everything. I always have. Always a broad spectrum of friendships. But again, it goes back to that rule of thumb we mentioned last week. When you have an older and a younger together, the older should never mention it, and the younger should never forget it.
Yep.
Be that as it may, this friend of mine asked me to borrow some money until the next week for a particular bill that came up unexpectedly. First and last time he ever asked to borrow a penny. A trustworthy guy, I would take a bullet for him. And it was $250, $300, I don't even know, $250 or $300. Not
a small
$10.
amount.
Never paid me back. Never brought it up. Never paid me back. And the problem I have is not the money itself. The problem I have is that I can't forget it. Years later, when we hang out, it pops up in my mind and I go, that's the jerk that never paid me back. I would rather erase that. It negatively impacts the friendship, even though I don't want it to. I can't forget it. The other example is my own, we'll just say a coworker. How about that? So it's not specific. A coworker last year who knew I was going through a financial thing forcibly loaned me money multiple times, would Zelle me money. And I'm like, I'll be fine. I'm good. I'd Zelle it back. No, Billy, take it. I'm not playing with you. You pay me by the end of the summer or whatever. And I would take the money and I'd stick it in a savings account just so I wouldn't. And then I'd wait a couple weeks, and it happened multiple times for months. And God bless her, she has a heart of gold. She was trying to help, but I didn't want to impact that, especially as a coworker friendship. I didn't want that to be a thing. And it was so hard because I wanted to be grateful for such a kind offer, but I didn't want the dynamic of having a loan. I don't want to borrow money from a person. If I'm going to borrow it, it's going to be from a bank. I don't want to borrow from a person.
Yeah.
A man must live within his means. So both directions. Both directions.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, I've
tricky.
never loved borrowing money, and this only has happened with my mom, because my mom has that heart of gold, and it's hard because she will quote unquote loan me money. She'll like say, "Yes, I'll loan it to you," but then after I have the money, she'll be like, never mind, you don't have to pay me back," and then I feel awful. But I know that she would feel it was rude if I tried to pay her back because of this,
Mm,
just how our culture is. And it's like puts me in such an awkward position because then I can't help it, even though she's never once made me feel like beholden or any of that. I still feel it. I still feel that, oh, she just lent me X amount of money or she just did this for me. I feel that. And I do, it changes the dynamic. Now, when it's your parent, right? It's probably a little different than when it's like, some guy that you hang out with every couple of weeks or whatever. But it's still hard even now that I'm an adult, it's very hard for me to accept that um, when my mom is generous like that. That's like my mom's love language is being generous. And so it's really hard because that's how she loves to express her love for us
mhm.
is by gifting us things and taking us on to restaurants. And my mom, lo- okay, so here's the thing. This is another story. Couple of last year before last, for my birthday or something like that, I really wanted a pedal assisted electric bike. So I got this is a basic electric bike, not fancy, basic motor, and it didn't even have like a throttle. It only would assist you in pedaling, right? So it was a PAS one is what they call it, right? And I loved it. It was so great. We took it camping over the summer to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I had it strapped to the back of the RV. It was so great to have when we were camping because we didn't have a car with us too far away. I was able to drive to the store and all this stuff. Well, on the way home, I had it strapped down to a luggage rack carrier. I didn't have a bike carrier specifically because I had everybody's bike on there. And it slipped and it like slid down and then it began to hit the road with every bump. Well, by the time I got home, it was destroyed,
Oh man. So it
completely
didn't
destroyed.
fall off altogether, but it
Yeah,
just was
I'd
dragging.
had it probably 2 weeks at the time, completely destroyed.
Oh, and those are not cheap.
No, it wasn't cheap, and I called bike shops, and they were like, "It's gonna cost you more than the value." It
Yeah.
was cheap enough that it would cost me more than the value of the bike to actually get it fixed.
Jeez.
And so I felt so bad, and I kept trying to find a place that would fix it. So finally, the other day, probably like 3 weeks ago, I said, "Yeah, I called around a bunch of places, and they all told me it was going to be more than the value of the bike to fix it." And I just don't think I don't think it's a wise thing to do. And not 2 days later, my mom sends me a link to a brand new electric bicycle that she's ordered me
Oh,
to come to my house.
what a sweetheart.
And I'm like, "Mom, you can't do this." But
What a
you can't
sweetheart.
stop her. She loves it so much. She loves to, fix it. If she can fix it, she wants to fix it. That's what I love about her. But yeah, so I always feel that like little twinge of, oh gosh, I wish you wouldn't do that, but I'm glad you did, but I wish you wouldn't have, but I'm glad you did, and I'm sad you did, and I feel bad, and all those things.
So sweet. I got into some difficult time years and years back where my stepfather was borrowing money from me.
Oh, interesting.
Not huge amounts, $100, $200. I'll pay you next week. Sure. And it was like wink, wink, just between us, no problem. And then my mom got a wind of it at some point, and I got in trouble for keeping it from her. So then I'm like, I'm not loaning money to anybody ever again. Forget
Yeah,
it, because it too much can go wrong.
yeah.
This one is just as tricky for me. Would you call someone out bad service at a restaurant when you're with other people? Does this get tricky?
Ooh.
Bad
Uh,
service and or the food is incorrect. They can all kind of be in the same category, I guess.
I think that I would and have, though it's very uncomfortable for me, I wouldn't have said if something is not correct. So like
Hmm.
wrong food, wrong drink, you know, food not cooked right, whatever. I've done that. That I'll do because I feel like I'm paying for the food
Right.
and it needs to be done right. But if a server is not a great server, I more than likely will not say a word about it. I
Mm.
won't tell a manager if they're bad. I won't tip them poorly. I just won't. And here's the thing for me, like, I would never want to be judged based on a moment on my worst day.
Mm.
And when I'm around somebody, a service professional, when I'm on the phone with somebody, and there have been times where I've actually had to stop and apologize and say, "Gosh, this is not your fault. I don't know why I'm yelling at you."
Mhm.
But like generally speaking, I try not to judge a service professional on an interaction over one day. You know what I mean? If I can tell they're just probably not well suited for it, I'm not going to give them a generous tip. I'm going to give them the bare, 15% or whatever. But like if I can tell, like, man, this person's just having a hard day. So here's a good example. You ready for another story? Man, I'm full of stories tonight.
Story time, boys
You're
and
bringing the
girls.
stories out, Billy.
Let's do it.
I was at Starbucks the other day. I wanted to get something, and this poor guy behind the counter, uh, I can't remember his name now. It was the Kroger Starbucks. That tells you something. This poor guy behind the counter was by himself, and I don't know if you know this, but they have no control over how many mobile app orders go to that Starbucks at any given time. So
Okay.
this guy is by himself. There's 3 people in line, and this stupid ticket machine keeps printing mobile orders out every second. Like bing, bing, bing. There's like 12 mobile orders printing. And he's like, I am so sorry. I'm the only one here. I've got 6 mobile orders ahead of you, and then I'm going to get to you guys, and then I'll get to the rest of these mobile orders. And I just watched this guy, and this guy was such a professional. He was keeping his head. He wasn't angry, he wasn't frustrated. He was doing what he needed to do, but he was just in over his head. Now, he was good at his job, and we probably sat for 12 minutes, right? But at a normal Starbucks, if you sat for 12 minutes for a drink, you'd probably have some words to say. But I'm watching this guy. He's doing everything right, and it's just too much work for one person.
Sure.
And tell you that story because what I realize is in general situations, that's a very visible situation, but generally speaking, I don't know how many cooks have called out. I don't know if you're bussing your own tables. I don't know how many tables you've got to cover because some other waiter called in sick. I don't know what your story is in this moment, but I can tell that you're a little overwhelmed. And I'm not going to hold that against you if I can help it. And I think that is for me, I'm just not going to call out the service. The food, yes. If the order's wrong, absolutely. I'll do it as nicely as possible. But I'm not going to call a waiter out or a server out on bad service on one experience. I don't think it's right. And I'll take it a step further. It really, really irritates me when everybody at the table is like bad mouthing or talking about a server behind their back. Like
Sure.
it pisses me off so much. And my level of respect for those people at the table goes down way more than my level of respect for that server trying to make ends meet. It
Sure.
just
Sure.
does. I can't stand it.
I think that's a great approach. Now let me give you a little different scenario, and maybe put yourself in my shoes or those listening. So a couple summers ago, I'm dating this girl. This is maybe like into second month of dating. So it's not a first date, it's not a first impression, but we're still pretty new. And this is a Friday night, and we go to a nice restaurant, nicer than average.
Hmm.
So it's going to be, you know, $40 a plate, something like that. And great reviews, and I've seen it in passing, for a long time, and I've wanted to try it and all this stuff. And so we go, and we're seated, and this isn't like, oh, they're overwhelmed. This is just truly a bad waitress, a bad service. And the next section over with a different waiter, there are people who have come in, been seated, eaten their food, paid their check, and left, and we're still on our appetizer. Like it's 20 minutes before we even put in an order. And so here's the thing, as the and call it what you will, but I'm pretty traditional when it comes to traditional gender roles. It is what it is. That's what I am. That's what I believe. And so I'm juggling between two things. On the one hand, I don't want to come across as being rude or dismissive or short-tempered with the service for all the reasons, Joe, that you just explained. On the other hand, I also don't want to be a spineless guy.
Mm.
I want
Mhm.
to be in control within reason, keep things moving, be the guy who politely is able to step up and take charge and say something if needed, which it was. And so now I've and this is on display for my date to see how is this guy going to handle this situation. And I can really blow it if I go in either extreme. I can blow it if I'm rah, and I can blow it if I'm what to do. And she's thinking, well, I'm going to say something if he doesn't eventually.
Yeah.
And so it's a crazy balance. And we go into the second hour before the food finally comes out. The second hour, and I ordered $45 trout that came out cold.
Mm-mm.
And so and I was as polite as possible, and I said, um, "We're actually gonna leave." And that's a bold thing to do 2 hours in, and they canceled the check, and we went to someplace else completely and ate dinner elsewhere. And this is on a side note, this is why long distance dating can miss important dynamics like that. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
if I'm dating somebody, they've got to see, they've got to see how is Billy going to interact in all sorts of scenarios. When Billy is stressed, when he's in traffic, when the line's too long, when the service sucks, when the food is wrong, when he's tired, when he's angry, when he's hungry, when he's bored, whatever. That's how she's going to get to know me and get to know us.
Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
on the first date when I'm, you know,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
on the ninth date when I'm like, come on, because that's real life.
Yeah.
But this is a tricky thing because, you know, I, with a group as well, I feel some kind of way if I'm going to call out bad service or wrong dish because I might make somebody feel uncomfortable in my group just for saying something, even in a polite way. They
Mhm.
might feel
Mhm.
uncomfortable that
Mhm.
I even said anything. And on the other hand, sometimes I'm like, something needs to be said in a polite way because this is falling apart and I'll be the one who does it. And it's uncomfortable either way. It's uncomfortable if you do, and it's uncomfortable if you don't.
Yep. That's a paradox, I guess. That it's interesting. I've had friends who are servers or who have been servers, and I've asked them various different questions around this idea, like, what's the minimum tip? And this is 25 years ago, so it's probably not this number anymore, or just different things like that. Um, and most servers are the kind of people who want to get it right, and they want you to have a good experience. And if you're not having a good experience, they typically know it, and sometimes they don't say anything because they're afraid. But generally speaking, if they don't know it or if things are not working out, um, a lot of times just being straight with them, just being like, "Hey, is there something going on back there? I don't understand why it's taking so long. Is there anything we're doing, or do we need to do something different?" Just kind of taking that ownness and being like, "I don't understand, but I don't know that it makes sense for us to sit here for an hour and a half or 2 hours waiting for dinner, right?" And you never know what that'll yield. It might yield you know, hated response. It might yield you know, who knows what. But you can do everything you can do to just be cool about it and be like, "Hey man, this is just not working for me. I need I have been with people who where like a dish has been wrong, and so I'll talk to the waiter. I'll say, "Hey, I think they did this incorrectly. We wanted no cheese on this, and there's a lot of cheese on it. Can you guys get that taken care of?" The waiter's perfectly fine about it. And then I'll hear from somebody else at the table like a day later or the next day, "Dude, why would you do that?" And I'm all,
Mm,
"What do you mean, why would I do it? I was nice about it, but it was $15 and I didn't want cheese on it." You know what I mean? So I think you gotta, I mean, again, this goes back to what we're always saying, right? It's about the level of respect that you show to an individual.
Sure.
If I don't put myself above them, but I still want my food right, that's okay. I think at least.
What about in the workplace, calling someone out, just in general, if they make a mistake, if they are out of line, if you need to correct them, if for whatever reason, how do you handle that, in general? Calling them out, do you do it at all? Do you do it publicly, privately? What's the rule of thumb? Does it depend?
Well, yeah, I've held a lot of positions in the corporate world, and if you're in a leadership position, you got to learn how to correct people in a kind way. You got to learn how to make sure that people understand what behavior is acceptable, what behavior is not acceptable, and all that. If you're not their boss, right, and it doesn't have an effect on you, but it has an effect on the company, I don't know. You might say something offhandedly like, "Did you know?" Blah 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 blah. But like generally speaking, I would just let it be, man. Unless it's like an egregious thing, right? Uh, Smoking pot in the bathroom or something. I don't know. But like generally speaking, like I don't know, if somebody makes doesn't get the memo on the TPS reports and forgets to attach one to, you know what I mean? Like I'm okay. It's fine. I'll let their boss take care of it or whoever it affects take care of it.
Sure.
Uh,
Well,
but
and
yeah.
to let's be specific though, there are times in the corporate world where your job is dependent on somebody else doing their job, and it's not that
Mm,
one of you is an authority over the other. Maybe it's a
right.
different department, and maybe the other department made a mistake, and your job is to somehow correct them,
Hmm.
right? So you're, in plain terms, like you're not their boss, but you still need to get things done, and so you have to lead, but not from authority, perhaps, but from influence. Like
Mm.
how does that work? How does that work with calling someone out versus not, versus going to their boss, going to your boss? I feel like a lot of people get this wrong.
Well, I think it all comes down to that connection with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody believes genuinely that you're in their corner and you're not against them, and genuinely you are in their corner and genuinely you're not against them, then you'll be able to say it. You know what I mean? But if you're the kind of person who is holding a grudge or, you know, tends to shift the blame or any of those things, you're going to run into that. You're going to run
Yeah.
into those negative situations, and you're not going to have the goodwill. It's kind of like a bank, right? Anybody that I work with, I try to be really kind and complimentary and helpful and respectful to at every moment in every situation, not just anecdotally, but genuinely. Just I'm going to be nice to you because I work with you. And you do that enough and you build up goodwill with people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when that thing comes up, like it's easy. And the other thing I will always say that this is so important, not leader or not coworker, whether it's a person who's, not your direct report or they are or whatever, you've got to praise in public and correct in private.
I
Like
like that. I like that.
that is number one, just the best way to do things. And so I've got an example of this. The company I work for is fully remote. There are no offices. Well, there's two offices, but nobody goes to them. And we have just a fantastic IT support team. Our IT team is second to none, man. Here's how good they are. I was working one morning and I realized that my mouse was on the blink. I don't know what was going on. It wasn't the
Not
batteries. I
the
changed the
mouse.
batteries,
Not the
but my
mouse.
mouse is on the blink. And I use an ergonomic mouse, not a cheap mouse, and I'm well, this one was actually a cheap ergonomic mouse. And it went on the blink and I couldn't do anything. I'm sitting on my trackpad. So I sent a ticket to our support team. Just said, "Hey, My mouse is on the blink. I can't get it to work. I like using an ergonomic mouse and a split keyboard. If you could just get me a new mouse, that'd be great. Not 5 minutes. I get a link to an Amazon page. I click on it. It's a split Logitech ergonomic keyboard, Logitech ergonomic mouse, unified controller, and a little note. Does this work for you? And I was like, heck yeah. Dude, by 5 p.m. that night, Amazon drops that off at my front door. I would have waited longer to get a mouse and keyboard at a company where the IT was 2 floors away from
Sure.
me in most cases.
But they
This
jumped on it.
case, by that night, I had a high dollar mouse and keyboard, exactly what I was looking for, and it got there, that night. And so, like, you better believe the very first thing I did was I sent an email and I copied the person that did it. I copied their manager. I copied their VP. I copied the
Yes.
freaking CTO on this email. And I said, I've never worked for a company that's been able to produce something like this. And the fact that you're remote makes it even more amazing. And I cannot believe how quickly this was handled for me. And I'll tell you what, that brought me a lot of goodwill at the IT department. Not
Yep.
just
People
with
remember
that guy,
People,
but the manager.
especially with IT or support in general, because, and I do support, the nature of it is people are calling you when something is broken. It's rare to get something where it's like everything's good. And that's
Yeah,
kind of
there's
how
no
it feels.
ticket if everything works.
That's right. But that's kind of how it feels when they go out of their way to praise that. I think you nailed it when you said praise in public and however you said it, criticism in private. This same kind of rule of thumb was taught to me a long time ago. Even just with an email, if I am correcting or constructively criticizing somebody, I need to email. If let's just say it's an email, I'm going to email just them, nobody else,
Yep.
just
Yep.
them. If I am praising them, I'm going to copy their boss.
Yep.
But copy their boss if I'm criticizing them? No. Generally, unless if I have to, I'm going to send a separate email. I don't want it to look like I'm tattling or anything like that, because even if I say it in a great way, the boss is copied. Oh, no. Nope. If it's constructive, it's just us. It's just us, just between
Yeah.
us. If it's praise, copy everybody, right? Let them, even if it's a little over the top, be over the top. Let them gloat. Let them gloat a little bit. So there's some core skills, I guess, when it comes to this. So I think you touched on it before as well. It's building the relationships ahead of time. And we can't always do this. Sometimes it's a person, a team, a department that we don't have a relationship with. But in advance, building relationships ahead of time of trust and respect so that we can kind of tap into that later on if we need them to do something for us. And again, it's not saying, I can't say do this now, but I'm leading sideways. I'm building the relationship ahead of time. Framing the impact. Like this is impacting our customer. This is important for all of us, sort of thing. Making it easy for them. This was a big one that I had to learn years back. I had what was the team called? Dispatch. It was a dispatch team. They were dispatching IT technicians to customer locations, and so I would send an email. And again, there's no authority. They're not above me. They're not below me. We're just lateral. But I need a technician to go to a store at this address at this time. And so I would send it and then it would get botched. How is this botched? What the heck? What went wrong? And I learned you have to be so clear to the point where it's overly clear. So instead of saying, I need a tech at this store on this day and this time, I would say, I need a tech with these specific tools, this skill set at this address at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, April 28th, 2026. Couldn't I just say tomorrow because I'm sending it today? No.
Not if they don't open it till tomorrow.
I've got to spell it out. I've got to spell it out. The date, the year, even though it's tomorrow, the time zone, every little thing to completely erase any possible gray area, and it felt so ridiculous at first. Typing it, I'm like, they're going to think that I'm belittling them or talking. Nope, it was appreciated, crystal clear.
Mm-hmm.
And then following up without being annoying, and that's a an art as well.
Yeah.
But if they know that you care about the customer and you care about them and you're not out to get them, then that makes it easier for everybody. And that goes back to the old cliche: people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And as
Exactly.
much as we can express that in the corporate world, it makes it better and easier. So
I totally agree. Here's a good one. This is a really cool thing too that I do. This is a free one, ladies and gentlemen, all 18 of you. If you need to follow up on something and you are afraid that the person that you're following up with has dropped the ball, do whatever you can to give them the benefit of the doubt that that's not what happened. Even if you are sure they dropped the ball, you don't need to do that. You don't need to point that out. So here's a good example. IT again. I'm ordering a new computer from IT, and I followed the directions. Of course, I had my IT hookup on the side who I asked. So he's like my dude. He's my dog, right? He helps me out. So today I messaged him and I said, "Hey, did that ticket ever get assigned out to you?" So not, "Hey, are you working on this? Hey, are you doing this?" But, "Hey, did that ticket ever come to you or did it end up in the ether somewhere?" So giving him that, I know that he's working on it, or if he's not working on it, it's not his fault. Like, I am confident that he's either working on it and he just didn't tell me, or there's no other possible explanation, right? The only other possible explanation is that it never came to him and he couldn't start. And sure enough, he messaged back and he goes, "Oh, I've been trying to get you a new laptop. I don't know if I can get you a new one, but I've been pushing for it. If I can't, then I'll get you one that's within 6 months old, and I'll make sure it's nice and upgraded for you." So it's like one of those things where it's like, I hope nobody at work listens to this because they're gonna be like, "Wait a second, how does he get all that?" But like, it's that thing where it's like, I'm not gonna go in and presume this guy's dropping the ball, or that he's not doing it, or even be very direct. "Can I get an update?" No, like, don't presume that.
yeah,
Just work with it. Just, give them that out. Give them that.
that's a
benefit
worst
of the
case scenario.
doubt.
You give them an out, let them save face.
Yeah.
Assume the best, even if you're being naive in doing so. Assume the best, and they will realize they have your confidence, even if it's not rightfully earned, and they will do whatever it takes to maintain that confidence.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. All right. We're going to wrap up, but I don't know if you know this, but I got our new ad copy guy working on our sponsor. He found a new sponsor. He actually found a whole new sponsor for us all on his own.
We have a sponsor already, and again, this
Yeah,
is ridiculous.
This
We're
is
going
our
to be
this is
rich.
our next. This is our sponsor. Today's sponsor is the Left Sock.
The Left Sock.
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by Left Sock. Tired of buying socks in pairs, only to mysteriously lose one? At Left Sock, we cut out the middleman and just sell you the left one. That's right. No more confusion, no more matching, no more asking where did the other one go, because there's only one. There is no other one. Every Left Sock is designed for comfort and durability and quiet acceptance. You didn't lose the right sock. You never had it. No one really does, right? So, I don't know, check your drawer. Left Sock, finally something that makes sense.
Thank you to our sponsor. Finally something that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like this is more for like the one-legged man.
I do feel like they should sell socks in ones, though. You know what I mean? Like, you should be able to like look up a website that's stitched onto your sock and put in a code and order just one of that sock. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a genius marketing ploy right there. Because you buy a pair of socks and what inevitably happens? You lose one. I don't know where it went. It might be in the dirty laundry. It might be under the car seat. It might be behind my dryer. It might be in a cat toy box. I don't know.
But I mean, if you buy a pack of them, then it's,
Yeah, but like, I'm talking like your Argyle socks. You know what I mean? Like those nice dress. My favorite pair of Argyle socks I can't wear anymore. I only have one pair, right? I will only have one of the socks. I don't have a pair. I
Well,
only
if
have
you ever
one.
lose a leg, God forbid.
Yeah,
No,
but if
Joe,
I
I don't want you to feel defeated. Sorry. No.
I think left sock is a good idea. I like it. Thanks, Chester.
Of course, we love it for our sponsor.
Yeah, we love it.
Thank
Chester,
you.
thanks for finding us another sponsor.
Yes, indeed.
And for working on that ad copy for us. We really appreciate it. All right, folks. Well, that about wraps up tonight's episode of the pod of the Open Tabs podcast. We started with
calling people out, and we ended with left-only socks. That's Open Tabs.
It's a day. It's a day. I don't know if it's a good day or a bad day. It's a day.
It is a day.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you just have those. And that's going to be our next sponsor. It's a day.
Hopefully.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tagging along with us tonight. Please listen, find us wherever fine podcasts are found. Obviously, YouTube is the main area where people get to watch our podcast. Feel free to visit us on YouTube, like and subscribe, and do all that nonsense.
Yep. Shout out to Japan, who is 1/3 of our viewing audience.
That's amazing.
Yes, arigato, konnichiwa.
Yeah. I was going to say domo arigato. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, everybody. Have a good night. We'll talk to you next week. We're out.
So long.